What's up, y'all? It's KingBritneyChanel. You already know. So I found it interesting that DeWanda Wise, she spoke on having pretty privilege, and she's a brown-skinned woman. So I found it interesting because a lot of times, like, there's a narrative that, you know, if you're deeper toned or brown skin or darker skin, that, you know, you don't have any privilege or anything like that. So I found that very interesting, and I'm gonna give my commentary on that today. So before I get into the video, definitely make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope y'all enjoy the video. Right, y'all, so we're going to talk about DeWanda Wise today, and she was featured in an article on Refinery. Let me see, this is refinery29.com, and basically in the article, what was interesting to me was that she is a brown-skinned woman, and she's talking about having pretty privilege and how, you know, she doesn't let people's perspectives about natural hair or, you know, skin tone stop her. And she's actually speaking about it in a positive way about how her pretty privilege has catapulted her career. Now, you may know DeWanda Wise. She's, you know, starring as the character Nola Darling on She's Got to Have It on Netflix, which I love the show. Okay, love the show concept. You know, not everything in the show, but it does bring a lot of awareness about what's going on as far as like gentrification in New York and that sort of thing. So I like certain aspects of the show. Before I get into what I'm about to say, let me say that I am going to be talking about colorism, and I know there's a lot of perspectives on colorism. I'm not saying, you know, certain stuff to invalidate anybody's experience, okay? You know, I've done a video where I said I see it from, you know, I can see it from a dark-skinned sister's perspective, and then I also understand it from a light-skinned woman's perspective, certain things. So I will put the link to that video so that y'all can understand how I feel about colorism in entirety. And I'm going to give y'all my view from a spiritual perspective, because I don't necessarily subscribe to a lot of the woe is me type of ideology that is in the quote-unquote black community. And y'all know I don't identify myself as black for spiritual reasons. Let me get into that first, because I'm coming from a spiritual perspective when I talk about this, okay? I don't identify as black because if you look at it, you know, people complain about racism, but if you look at the terms white and black, which are both legal terms, white means pure and purity, okay? You know how, or light. Black is the absence of light, the absence of morality, and typically, you know, it means also poverty in some parts of the world. That's why I also don't identify as a minority, because that's all that means. And so spiritually, I believe that names and what you call yourself is very important, and I feel like it determines how people treat you in society as well. You know, you are what you answering to, if you think about it, okay? So I believe that, you know, certain words, and I like to study etymology because I know that there's certain word curses, and God, you know, God say, whatever you speak out of your mouth, that's gonna come into existence. It's gonna be so. You know, life and death is in the power of the tongue. So you know, a lot of people are like, you know, why do you identify as king? King has nothing, me identifying as a king has nothing to do with my gender. I've said that 100 times, and I'm going to say that the definition of king, when you look it up in Old English, means leader of the people, noble birth, one who has descended from a divine race. You know, in the word, in Revelation 1:6 in the Bible, this is why I say I'm giving y'all a spiritual, you know, perception on this. And have made, you know, it says Revelation 1:6, and have made us kings and priests unto God and his Father. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. You know, so that is in there. You know, basically it's saying he has made us kings and priests. So also, I'm coming from a perspective I talk a lot about from a warrior and a victorious type of perspective. I don't identify with the woe is me and the this is happening to me. I'm a person that like to talk about solutions, and I notice that a lot when it comes to the videos about colorism. It's always kind of like a complaint without a solution to it. And I see, I'm like I said, I'm not trying to invalidate people's experiences, but I think about stuff from a king and a kingdom perspective. And basically, I believe from the way I was raised, when I would come home, because it starts at home. If I came home and said people made fun of me, or I would say the words that pretty much were forbidden in my house, is the terminology I was not allowed to say those things. I was not given an option for an excuse, because my mom instilled in me the scripture of Deuteronomy 28:13, and the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath, if thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them. So what that means is that you are above only and not beneath. So I don't subscribe to victim ideology. I don't subscribe to I'm not getting ahead in life because I'm a woman of color or an original woman, a melanated woman, and I don't subscribe to the pity parties that is colorism and this is happening to me. And like I said, I'm not invalidating experiences, but this is the same thing that I kind of said with Monique. And the reason why I'm saying this, because it's all going to go into the article that I'm getting ready to read, like a couple of clips, and then give y'all my perspective on it. But this is part of my perspective. I love when people are coming, because it's not enough people that are talking about what the can and the possibilities are in life. It's a lot of people with complaints. Yeah, you might have people in the world that use you, despitefully use you, don't like you. They have that God-given right. Everybody got a choice. Choose ye this day who you gonna serve. Is the righteous versus the unrighteous. You're going to have people that either like you or despise you. That's a part of adulting. And I feel like we have to explain that to our kids, that it's going to be people that do not prefer you, that don't like you. You as a warrior, you as a king, if you're a child of God, you subscribing to kingship. You are a joint heir for the inheritance of the saints. That's your birthright. Okay? You're going to have people. Jesus was the Messiah. You're going to have people that do not like you. That's a part of life. But I don't subscribe to the pity parties of, people come to me like, these social injustices. That happens because if you are the person from a divine race, you're going to have opposition and an enemy to you. They doing what they supposed to do. This is the battlefield. So I was raised from a victor and a warrior perspective in my household. My mom did not allow me to have low self-esteem and to be sitting there crying and talking about, because you brown skin, you ain't gonna have no doors open. What? My mom was more so, you are more than a conqueror through Christ Jesus that strengthens you. You above only. Kick the door off the hinges and make an avenue for yourself. You gotta be the representation and make your own lane for yourself. Whatever you speak, that's what it's gonna be. So I don't understand these videos of these people talking about colorism and all this stuff. I don't understand it, because I'm speaking from a spiritual perspective. I know what my God, the Most High, has promised me in this life. I know what He has, the promises that He has made, and what my inheritance is as a child of the Most High. So that's why I had to get into that. But let's talk about what DeWanda said. DeWanda, she spoke a lot about, I'm not going to read the part about her talking about, black don't crack, but I would say as a melanated person, because we're tied to, if you serve, like I'm gonna say, those who serve Him and they from the bloodline of the Most High God, you do get benefits and privileges as being a child of the Most High God. And she talked about, you know how they say black don't crack, and she was like, because you know we're going through all these social injustices and things that happen in the world, which that is true, it's a lot that happens, but I feel like that ties into you're gonna go through a lot because you have to be tested. Okay, you have to be tested. How God gonna know, or the Most High gonna know that you truly love him and believe that he's God if you're never tested? You feel me? Jesus was tested. He passed the test. So she was saying how, because a lot of original people, they go through a lot of persecution and strife, she was like, that's why our skin does not crack. Which I love that part of it, because it was like, you know, he does restore our youth. We go through a lot in life because that's, you know, that's a part of life, but he doesn't allow it to look like that's what you have gone through. See, God is about processes. When you could have a past, you could have a lot of things that's going on with you, but you don't have to look like where you came from. See, that's the glory of God. I like that she was talking about that in the article. But I also like, you know, she gave her skincare. So those of y'all that's interested in her skincare, her, you know, she talked about how she uses refined, you know, I think unrefined coconut oil and shea butter, like the natural things that are from the Most High that restore your youth. It's a lot of, you know, things that are natural. You know, we go out and buy all these products and crap, but a lot of this stuff, if we just go back to the original source, we'll be able to heal and replenish ourselves and not look like what we have went through. So I like that part. So she basically was saying, you know, there's a lot of things in her industry that she doesn't care about. And she also talked about, you know, the ageism, and she kind of was inspired by Felicia Rashad and how, you know, she's starting to see a whole bunch of women do more, you know, in life at their age, and she was inspired by it, which I like that, because, you know, society tell you that, you know, as you age, you're supposed to do less. And I don't, you know, like I said, I'm giving a king perspective. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. Excuse me, I had a bit of a hiccup. I don't necessarily subscribe to that, because I feel like, you know, God is doing a new thing. When you come to him, there's restoration, and he wants you to live a long and prosperous life. You know what I mean? So I love what she said and how she was inspired by she said, I'm gonna be like Felicia Rashad. I'm gonna be, you know, this all knowing, flowy, dress wearing woman who embodies wisdom. And I like that, because when I look at her, I don't see a woman that is subscribing to the body norms that are not the natural woman. You feel me? Now, no shade to people who get the plastic surgery and the stuff like that. That's you. But I feel like ain't nothing better than what the Most High has given you, the way he intended it to be. Because everything, if you look at if you look at the word devil backwards, it's the word lived backwards. So everything about anything pertaining to the devil is always backwards or distorted when you think about it. And I like that she said that she wanted to be a woman who embodies wisdom, because that's the most beautiful thing that you have, you know, as a virtuous woman. Like wisdom, you know, you being, even if you are aging, but it's a glory on it. You know what I mean? It's not, I love the way, like, her character, except, you know, like I said, I don't subscribe to everything, because there's a couple of things that don't agree with me on the she's got to have it. But when she portrays herself in roles, it's very she has a natural look. You don't see all that plastic surgery. You know, it's always kind of like a glowy, melanated type of look. You know what I mean? In respecting who she is as a natural woman. And that's what I was, you know, like I said, representation matters. I had somebody, one of my subscribers, come to me and say that they allow their daughter to watch, or their kids to watch me, because representation matters. You know, thank God I had a mother who instilled the value of entrepreneurship in me to not wait around for people to give me opportunities or to beg for a level playing field or to beg people to respect me. You go and get it and you go and take it for yourself. And now I have an avenue to show other young kings how to do this. Okay, so basically it starts at home. You know, you could have a parent that tell you, oh, the world is unfair and so cruel, or you could say you have a parent that tell you, you go out there and you make an opportunity for yourself. You more than a conqueror. So if that's the case, if they doing that, they can't outdo your God. They can't outdo the Most High. God told you this is what I'm giving you. These are the promises. This is the life you gonna have. And so you just have to raise your kids that way. You could focus on all the negativity as far as the colorism and stuff. And I'm getting ready to get into why I'm talking about colorism, because she talked about, you know, how there is a Eurocentric beauty standard in the industry that she's choosing to be in. But this is also what I said about the whole Monique situation. If you choose to play the game the way they want to play it and not create an avenue for yourself, of course they're going to tell you, look more like me and not be yourself. Because who wants you to destroy what God has given you naturally? Who wants you to distort your image? Y'all already know the enemy. So basically, they asked her, has anyone ever asked you to change something about yourself to get a role? And she basically said, I was moving to LA and a well-meaning director was like, you are going to have to straighten your hair all the time and be Barbie and fit into these Eurocentric molds of beauty and acceptance. And she basically said, and I was like, nah, that don't apply to me. It's all about what you subscribing to. What's your subscription process? Because if you say, okay, I'm gonna have to do all of that to get something out of life, then that's what you're gonna find yourself doing. And you see these people distorting they looks, and they're not getting no further. Because the way these people that do these colorism videos, they're making it seem like, you know, oh, all it takes is just you being light skinned or you being this and that to get ahead. And if you subscribe to that, then of course you're going to be on the bottom because that's your subscription. But you hear her right here saying, nah, that don't apply to me. I ain't never, she's not the only brown skinned woman who has talked about this. Cash Doll, I remember her saying something like she don't know nothing about no colorism and the rest of that, because I guess she was basically saying that certain stuff happens to people, certain stuff doesn't. I'm not trying to, like I said, invalidate anybody's experiences, but I choose in life, yeah, social injustice and all that stuff is happening, but I know who I am. I know what apply and I know what don't apply to me. So I like that she said that. That part really spoke to me. And then she said, the way that I found success so far has been in being me and finding work that allows me to tell my truth. So listen to what she's saying. Like, if you look at that, she's not focusing on the people that are telling her to do it their way. She's going out and finding things that pertain to her, because whatever is for you is for you in life. If the door ain't opening for you over there, it's because it ain't supposed to. Go and make an avenue and build a house and a foundation with your own door so that you could go through the door, and then you could be the one that open up the door for the next person who may be a child of God, or may look like you, or may need that representation. They may need to see it, because seeing is believing with some people. So I like that she said that. Now let me go on down, y'all. She said, I would like to acknowledge my pretty A privilege. I feel like people often talk about colorism and certain kinds of privilege. So this was the major clicker, okay? She said, I always acknowledge what it means to walk through the world with this face. Shout out to my parents. It's a helpful tool in this industry when other people think you are cute. And I want to talk about this because the way people, it's like I said, a lot of this ideology from people is very outdated, and they just regurgitate the same type of thing. Oh, I'm not getting opportunities because I'm dark. Oh, I'm not, just the same colorism that is poisoning the community. And like I said, I'm not saying that that's not happening to those people, but it's a self-reflection type of thing, because honestly, you can't change how other people feel about you. You can only change how you feel about yourself. And if you allow that to stop you, it's going to stop you from getting jobs and stuff. The world is unfair. Okay, well, you got to thank your grandparents for subscribing to certain stuff to get you in a position to where they are calling you a minority, and where they've allowed, you've allowed them to call you black and these other names that are all word curses. And that could be a part of the reason why certain stuff is stopping for you. But that's a whole nother video. But I like this because it opens up the door for like featureism, because the way they make it sound is it's like this Jim Crow slavery thing where, oh, if you're dark, you just nothing ever good is gonna happen for you. And I cannot stand that. And I'm not saying that this is everybody doing that, but it's a lot of people who do these videos, and they put that out there like that, like, oh, and then it creates like this poison animosity toward people that are light or mixed, or it creates a poison philosophy where the people is going back and forth with each other, when it really is like, okay, if we're not getting enough representation, let us start creating our own representation and stop expecting somebody else who ain't us to do it. They don't have to do nothing for you. That's what I said with the whole Steve Harvey and the money game situation, and how he was explaining that to Monique, and how Monique was like, oh, as a woman of color and all that stuff she was talking about. The reality is, don't nobody in this world owe you nothing but to love you. And you have to make your own way and opportunities for yourself. You cannot wait around for people to give you respect. You cannot wait around for people to give you opportunity. And I'm glad that she said this as a brown skinned girl, because it's not the typical story that's regurgitated over and over. Oh, I didn't get a role because I was this. You feel me? And it opens up your eyes to something which is called featureism, which is it's deeper than that. Because a lot of people just had this surface thing like, the outdated ideology, if you light skinned, everybody's gonna find you attractive, or if you're dark skinned, everybody's gonna find you unattractive. And that's not the case. Me, myself, as a brown skinned girl, I've actually, from my personal experience, I've gotten more attention without all of the Eurocentric stuff. Because it's millions of women wearing weave and doing the Eurocentric thing. But I've noticed that when I stop doing certain things and I just return to what God naturally intended it to be, I get loads of attention just being me. Just being in a healthier state that is me. Now, I'm not knocking people who do other stuff. That's you. You got every right to do that. Cool, but I'm just saying from my personal experience, like, I've never had a complex where I felt like bleaching my skin out or anything, because in my life, and this is just my personal experience, not trying to invalidate your experience, because that type of thing really does go on, but I've gotten attention, from being a copper color bronze caramel girl, to having that natural tan and tone all year round, that you could wear pretty flex of clothing and stuff like that, which I'm gonna start doing videos to empower these young women out here, because it's too many Instagram models and people influencing these young girls, and not enough DeWanda Wises out here in the world. So she like, listen, I'm pretty, and that's what has brought favor upon me. That's what she said. I'm pretty. It wasn't the usual, oh, I'm not attractive because I'm a dark-skinned girl. And that's not the case. And I now I understand what Cash Doll was saying. Like, I haven't experienced that, because there's some, when you say that, when you're attractive, it's certain stuff that opens up the doors for you, no matter what race. Okay, and you're not getting a magical card just because you're light skinned. Probably at one point in life when that Jim Crow stuff was going on, but now it's just there's so many aspects of beauty. That's why, like I said, I don't really subscribe to the whole black, and because it's not a race, it's not an origin, it's not an ethnicity, and we're all different. We're all from different tribes, nations, and this is why you have this issue of colorism and stuff, because it's basically you trying to lump people into different faux races and classes and different things going on. And it's just like, look, if you're an attractive person, and that could be a privilege for you. You don't have to just look at life like, oh, because I'm this is not going to happen for me. That's an oppressed type of state. And like I said, if you're a child of the Most High, that's a privilege in itself that's going to open up the doors for you. If he done blessed you with certain stuff, glory on you to make that you attractive, that's a privilege to you. It don't always have to be the same old outdated rhetoric. So I found that very, compelling what she said. Now, she said in an essay for The Guardian, you wrote about the impact of colorism in Hollywood in your life. How do you combat societal messages that tell you that your skin isn't beautiful? And this is what she said. Thankfully, I took more cues from my personal life than online platforms, magazines, or film. My friends are from completely different backgrounds. And I'm so happy that she said that. Because colorism, I get more people talking about skin tone when I'm around in the black community. When I'm in other communities, and I think it's something that's psychological there, but that's a whole nother video. When I'm in other communities, hanging with other people, a racist is going to be a racist. Like, I've experienced racist people, but my overall experience from other types of people, I get more compliments on me just being a natural human being on how I am. Or, I said being. being and how I am. You know what I mean? So, that's why I always encourage people, if you do have children of color, allow them to travel the world to get a deeper perspective than this toxic American, or I would say the black American, or the descendant of slave ideology that's always pushed. Because you will see the world from a whole different lens. I'm not saying that bad stuff happen everywhere. Racism and stuff can happen anywhere. But there's a lot of good people out there, just like there's bad people out there. And there's a lot of perspective that the Most High God can give you when you travel, okay? And she said, whether that is race, she says, my friends are from completely different backgrounds, whether that is race, class, or orientation. That's been so important to my self-esteem, honestly. I never thought about how powerful it was to be around people or surrounded by people who love you for you. And that is powerful because, when I was around, some American blacks, I'll say, I don't even like to call them, I will say American original people, okay? Because I don't like to call people black or whatever. I feel like that's very negative to say that. When I'm around melanated people, I never knew about the whole, skin tone, colorism thing and how much it affected us until I sat around the people and they argue back and forth about the skin tone and the complexion. Because when I'm around other types of people, that's really not a thing. Now, I'm not saying that there's not, you're going to have, I'm going to call them idiots that will be from other places that do that. But I have gotten so much love from different types of people regarding, like how they admire, the way my natural hair is, or me not wearing nail polish, or the way my skin glistens a certain way in the light, or, it turns a nice mahogany shade. Like, I get a lot of admiration from other types of people. Now, when you with your own people, you might have people that's, woke or enlightened that'll be like, oh, I see a melanated sister there. But then you have the folks that, say, oh, you too this or whatever. So I do understand the arguments of colorism from all sides. But it's prevalent and dominant a lot of times because it's been ingrained in the quote unquote, how y'all call it, the black community. But I was just happy that she spoke on that. And she said that has been instrumental in buffering out the nonsense of the world or this industry trying to put something on me that I didn't choose for myself. If there's a project and I'm like, you're not for me, you're not my people, I wipe my feet off at the door and go the other way. That's how you gotta be in life. That's how you gotta be. When people say ignorant things or they're not for you, that wasn't the opportunity that was meant for you. Go and create an opportunity for yourself. God is a creator. So you have to be creative with the resources that he has given you. He has given you the power to obtain wealth. He has given you all these things. So why complain about it instead of going, don't hate, don't complain, go and create. She said, I wipe my feet off at the door and go the other way. Life is too short. I don't subscribe to that, because you can have a long life if you serve the Most High God. You can have that. And there are too many people who are your people to be concerned with the ones who are not. And then I'll let y'all read the other parts of this beautiful, piece that was put together by Refinery 29. And she talks a little bit about natural hair and and all of that good stuff. And her character, I just like that she is just, when you see her, she doesn't have the Botox face, the fake boobs, or the fake looking behind. Skin is always glow, and that's what we need to see more of, and what these young ladies and young men need to see more of in the community is people that are just being themselves. You feel me? Y'all let me know y'all thoughts on my message. This was KingBritneyChanel. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all for the next one.